There are places in Cameroon that everybody talks about. Mount Cameroon, Kribi, Limbe, the Lobe Falls. But then there are places that somehow stay hidden. Places so beautiful that when you finally see them, your first reaction is usually the same. How is this place not famous? That was exactly what I was asking myself as I stood on top of the Kupe-Muanengouba mountain range looking down at the famous Twin Lakes. The funny thing is that before the trip, I had seen pictures, lots of pictures, beautiful pictures, drone shots, Instagram photos, travel videos, but nothing prepared me for seeing the lakes with my own eyes. Absolutely nothing. Because some places cannot be understood through a screen, they must be experienced, and that is exactly why I decided to make this journey. The Twin Lakes are located near Bangem, the capital of the Kupe-Muanengouba division in the southwest region of Cameroon. There are several routes to get there. Some travelers pass through Tombel heading to Bangem, while others come from Douala through Melong before continuing towards Bangem and Boroku. For me, there was never really a choice. I wanted the complete experience. I did not want to simply arrive at the destination. I wanted the journey that comes with it. I wanted to feel every kilometer. I wanted to understand why people who have visited the Twin Lakes always talk about them with so much passion. So I left Douala and headed towards Melong. The road itself was already an adventure. As the city disappeared behind us, the scenery began changing. Buildings became smaller, the air became fresher, the mountains became larger. Villages appeared between valleys, and the traffic disappeared. And slowly, without even realizing it, life started feeling simpler. One thing I love about travel is that sometimes the healing begins before you even reach the destination. Just watching the landscape change through your window can remind you how beautiful Cameroon really is. After passing through Melong, we continued towards Morocco. This is where things started becoming serious. Morocco is not the kind of place that people accidentally find themselves in. If you are in Morocco, you came for a reason. You came for the mountain, you came for the lakes, you came for the adventure, or you came to enjoy some fresh cow meat. And standing there at the starting point of the hike, surrounded by other travelers who were equally excited, you could feel the energy in the air. Everybody looking confident, everybody looking fresh, everybody was taking pictures, everybody was smiling as always because at the beginning of every hike, everybody feels like a professional hiker. Then the mountain introduced itself. The first section of the trail felt relatively easy. The weather was beautiful, the views were already impressive, the conversations flowed naturally, people laughed, people told stories, people make jokes about who would reach first and who would struggle. Nobody was breathing heavily yet. Nobody was questioning their life choices. Everything was perfect. Well, for now. As we continued climbing, the landscape opened up around us. The further we went, the more we realized how far away we were getting from ordinary life. No traffic noise, no endless phone notifications. In fact, no work stress, no city chaos, no network, just nature, pure nature. And honestly, there is something incredibly therapeutic about that. Modern life keeps us constantly distracted. The mountain does the opposite. It removes the distractions. It forces you to slow down. It forces you to be present. And sometimes that is exactly what we need. About an hour into the hike, we arrived at the Mboroku settlement. This part fascinated me. Scattered across the mountainsides were homes belonging to mostly the cattle herders and their families, and you could see cattle grazing peacefully in the distance while children moved about their daily routine. Life here operates on a completely different rhythm. Nobody seems to be rushing, nobody seems to be stressed. Everything feels connected to the land. As we walked through the settlement, we arrived at the village school. It was one of those moments that quickly stays with you. The school was simple, very simple, nothing fancy, nothing luxurious. Yet children were there learning, playing, growing, dreaming. The boys occupied one section of the playground where a football match was on the way, and the energy was incredible. Every goal felt like a World Cup final. The girls had gathered secretly in their own corner, chatting and laughing among themselves. For a moment, they were surprised. For a few moments, they even stopped to watch what I was doing. And honestly, it was beautiful. Not because of the buildings, because of the infrastructure, but because of the reminder that joy does not always depend on having everything. These children seemed genuinely happy, and sometimes that realization hit deeper than expected. We often spend our lives chasing more money, more comfort, more professions. Yet some of the happiest people we encounter often have far less than we do. After leaving the settlement behind, the mountain started revealing its true personality. The climb became steeper, the paths became narrower, the forest became thicker, and suddenly the jokes became less frequent. People became more focused, more concentrated. Breathing became louder. Legs started feeling the effort. This is where hiking becomes interesting, because eventually the mountain stops testing your body and starts testing your mind. Every step becomes a conversation with yourself. Do I keep going? Can I do this? Should I stop? Then you take one more step and another and another, and before you know it, you are further than you were ever thought possible. There is a lesson hidden in every mountain. Most limits exist in our minds long before they exist in reality. After crossing the second section of the forest, we finally arrived at the viewpoint. And wow, just wow, oh wow. I still remember that moment vividly. The first glance of the twin lakes appeared between the mountains. Everybody stopped. Phone came out instantly. Conversation stopped. Even the people who had been complaining about the hike suddenly forgot they were tired, because the view was absolutely ridiculous. From above, the lakes looked almost unreal, like something from a fantasy movie. Perfect circles of blue surrounded by endless green mountains. Cloud drifted slowly across the landscape. The wind carried that cold mountain freshness, and for several minutes nobody wanted to leave. We simply stood there admiring the view, taking pictures, recording videos, trying unsuccessfully to capture with our cameras what our eyes were seeing. The Twin Lakes themselves carry fascinating history and local legends. Formed thousands of years ago through volcanic activity, the lakes sit within ancient volcanic craters on the Manengouba Massif. Local communities traditionally refer to them as the male lake and the female lake. Stories about the lakes have been passed down through generations, and many people still regard them with great respect. Whether you believe the legends or not, standing there makes you understand why they exist. The place has certain energy, a certain mystery, a certain magic. Eventually, we continue descending towards the lakes themselves. The closer we got, the more beautiful everything became. And finally, we arrived. After hours of hiking, climbing, sweating, and pushing ourselves, we were finally standing at the edge of the Twin Lakes. The reward was worth every single step. The water was calm, the air was cool, the atmosphere was peaceful. That kind of peace that is becoming increasingly rare in today's world. Some people immediately jumped into the water, others sat quietly along the shoreline. Some simply stared at the scenery. Nobody was in a hurry. Nobody wanted to leave for a while. The only thing that matters was enjoying the moment. We swam, we laughed, we took countless pictures, we shared stories, we rested, and somewhere in between all of that, I realized why people fall in love with places like this. It's not just because they are beautiful, it's because they make you feel alive. The Twin Lakes are not simply a destination, they are an experience, an adventure, a reminder that Cameroon still has incredible places waiting to be discovered. A reminder that sometimes the best things in life requires effort. And a reminder that some of the most beautiful corners of the world are often hidden far away from the crowds. If you ever get the opportunity to visit the Twin Lakes of Kupe-Muanengouba, take it. Don't just admire them through pictures. Go there, climb the mountain, meet people, feel the wind, swim in the lake, watch the clouds roll over the hills. Create your own story, because trust me, This is one of those places you will remember long after the journey ends. And if you would like to visit the Twin Lakes with Ndolo Travels, my contacts are in the description below. Call me and let's go chop life. I want to show you something.
After about, c'est 2 heures maintenant, right? After about 2 hours of hiking, we finally made it. That is the female Kupe-Muanengouba lake. Here is the male Kupe-Muanengouba lake. So here, it is forbidden to go down for cultural reasons. And as you can see, there is nothing on the water, no leaves, nothing. And likewise here. For here, we are going to go down. The steps are somewhere that way, and we are going to go down and yes, chill off. Woo! This is incredible, guys. This doesn't feel real. This doesn't feel real. I am making this video from the banks of the female Manengouba lake, and I'm making this video because I've been here, I've taken some time out, and as you can see, I'm just here with my tour guide. She's on the other side of the camera. And one thing that this whole place has been screaming is calm, peace, quietness. You know, it's tucked up in nature, far away from civilization, and all we have here are just the birds chirping and the water. And sometimes it reminds me of how busy life can get. Life gets so busy that you forget to live in it, you know. I don't know how to say it anymore, but don't let life pass you by. Don't be in life and you're not living just because of work, because of chaos, because of every other thing that life throws at us. Yes, I agree that we all need to work, we all need money, we all need all of these things, but hey, you have just one life, and you cannot afford to be a spectator in a life that you have just one version of it. So take some time out, give yourself a break, explore, travel, do something fun, and just feel life in life. I don't know how else to say it, but I hope you get my point. Don't let life pass you by.